remember the day everything changed. The day I realized I was not just a number on a balance sheet, but a force to be reckoned with in the world of finance. My name is Helena Montez, and at 35, I hold the title of Senior Bank Executive in New York City, a role I fought tooth and nail to achieve. I started as a humble bank teller, a position that many saw as the bottom rung of the ladder. They called me just a teller, but inside I burned with ambition, a fire that wouldn't be extinguished by anyone else's perception of me. The shiny glass buildings of Manhattan reflected my dreams, but they also masked the struggles that lay beneath. I had a secret wealth of knowledge, strategies I cultivated quietly, which would someday allow me to rise above the whispers and doubts that surrounded me. My journey was not just about climbing the corporate ladder. It was about proving that I was more than the sum of my beginnings. My family had long since disowned me for my ambition, claiming I had lost my way, that I was no longer the girl they raised. They thought I was a fool for chasing my dreams, but as I sat in my corner office, overlooking the bustling streets below, I realized how wrong they were. It was a chilly autumn day when I received a call from my parents. They needed my advice on their finances, begging me for help. I hung up the phone, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. The very people who had turned their backs on me were now looking to me for guidance. I was torn between the anger of betrayal and the satisfaction of knowing I had succeeded beyond their wildest imaginations. I remembered the countless times I had sacrificed my social life, the nights spent poring over spreadsheets while my friends enjoyed carefree evenings. I had built a life that others could only dream of, but it had come at a cost. The irony was not lost on me. My parents, who had once labeled me a failure, were now seeking my counsel from the very seat of power I had claimed. I felt a mix of vindication and a deep-seated hurt that I could not shake. In the world of high finance, betrayal is a currency that flows freely, and I had experienced my share. I was engaged to a charming man who had wooed me with promises of love and partnership, only to shatter my heart when he proposed on a rooftop. Surrounded by twinkling lights, it felt like a fairy tale until the moment he called off the wedding, leaving me standing alone, the echoes of his words ringing in my ears. I had never felt such betrayal, and the pain was sharp, cutting through the armor I had built around my heart. A part of me wanted to seek revenge, to make him feel the agony he had caused me. Instead, I channeled that energy into my work, pushing myself further into the depths of financial strategy, plotting my rise with meticulous precision. I turned the pain into my strength. As I climbed the ranks, I made a name for myself, and soon enough, he found himself working under my direction, a bitter twist of fate that felt like justice served cold. If you love Helena's journey, like and subscribe to join her next chapter. The thrill of watching him squirm under my leadership was intoxicating. Yet I knew this was not the end of my story. It was just the beginning. My ambition grew, and so did my wealth, but I couldn't forget the emptiness that lingered from my past. I put on a brave face, attending board meetings and networking events. But behind the scenes, I was haunted by the betrayal of those I once loved. I longed for a sense of connection, someone who could understand the relentless drive that consumed me. I found it in a friendship with a coworker, a kindred spirit who had faced his own struggles in the cutthroat world of finance. Together, we forged a bond that felt genuine, built on mutual respect and shared ambition. But the shadows of my past loomed large, and I was terrified of letting anyone in. I had been hurt too many times, and vulnerability felt like a chink in my armor. My parents' calls for advice became more frequent, but I remained guarded. I wanted to help them. Yet I could not shake the resentment that bubbled beneath the surface. They had dismissed my dreams, and now they were trying to ride my coattails. I realized that while I had achieved so much, I had also built walls around my heart, isolating myself from the very people who could have supported me. It was in that moment of reflection that I decided to confront my past head-on. I invited my parents to lunch, a calculated move that would either break me or set me free. The restaurant was bright and airy, a stark contrast to the heaviness I felt in my chest. As we sat across from each other, the air crackled with unspoken words. I laid it all out on the table, my journey, my pain, and my successes. I told them how their rejection had fueled my ambition, but also left me feeling hollow. Their expressions shifted from confusion to realization, and I saw the flicker of regret in their eyes. It was a moment of reckoning, and as I spoke, I could feel the walls I had built around my heart starting to crumble. They apologized, and for the first time, I felt their sincerity. It was a cathartic release, a moment where I realized that forgiveness was not just for them, but for me too. I had spent too long carrying the weight of their betrayal, and it was time to let go. As I left the restaurant, a newfound sense of freedom washed over me. I had taken control of my narrative, reclaiming my power not just in the boardroom, but in my personal life as well. My journey was far from over, but I had learned that true strength lies not just in ambition, but in the ability to forgive and move forward. I had risen from the ashes of betrayal, and in doing so, I had built a life that was truly my own. The skyline of New York City no longer felt like a distant dream, but a testament to my resilience. I had not just survived, I had thrived, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next. I had transformed my pain into purpose, and I was determined to use my experiences to help others navigate their own journeys. My story was just beginning, and I was finally ready to share it with the world. Join me as I continue to rise, defy expectations, and carve my own path in the world of finance and beyond.